Welcome, everyone. How are we doing? Oh, looks like I got a few people to say hello to. Okay. Golden One. Hina Williams. Susie Pops. Yolanda RN. Wicked Witch. How we doing, girl? Renee. Lauren Elizabeth. Norma Thomas. Did I say Lufa already? I didn't say your name already. Did I, Lufa? Lufa. Hold on. Nicole Marie. Lori A. Jason, what's up, dude? All right. J is for Jesse. Hey, girl. Sammy C. Sammy C. Yelling my name out there like that in the chat. Crazy person. What's wrong with you? All right, y'all. So, damn, I still got to adjust my things. I got my Altoids in view and everything like that. Crazy. Anyway, people, we've got this situation with Sophie Long. Prior, I don't know how much you want to scroll up into the chat or whatnot, but I left a link in the chat of a particular post that took place in the official Stand With Sophie group. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about that because that's the biggest group, honestly, as far as anything involving any type of true crime that I've ever been a part of. First of all, I'm not a big fan of groups for the most part, true crime groups in particular for the most part. But once in a while, I'll make an exception depending on the case. This is not okay. And those things are usually discussion groups. This is not from now. I want to be clear. I'm not an admin of this group. I'm not a moderator for this group, nothing of the sort. I know that it was set up by Sophie's family, and as far as I know anyway, and apparently there's a lot of admins and there's a lot of moderators, and apparently that they're not necessarily very active, but I'm sure there's probably a method to their madness. But the thing is, though, is we have to keep in mind, people, from what I'm seeing, it is not a discussion group. I see it more as an awareness group. The idea is to bring awareness of Sophie's situation so that we can spread the word and hopefully rattle the right cages and start making some changes in some of the laws that take place regarding custody hearings and how much say does a child actually have. Sophie is 9 years old. Sophie Long is 9 years old. From what I see, she seems to have a very, very, very good relationship with her father, Michael. Now, to be fair, we have only seen footage, to my knowledge, we've only seen footage coming from Michael. So we have to understand, we have to be fair when we think about these things, but when it comes to whether or not I believe Sophie, whatever, I'll just use the Bluetooth. Whether or not I believe Sophie, it's not even a question, because when I look at that footage of that exchange where she is just adamant, the footage that I went over in this last and on this channel in the last live stream I did, I saw a terrified little girl, a terrified 9-year-old girl who is also, as terrified as she was, very rational for a 9-year-old, and very articulate. But one might say that's a red flag and say, oh, well, that doesn't necessarily mean that she's telling the truth. That could mean that she's crafty. Maybe, but here's the thing: is when we look at video footage, say we look at, you look at all these other. I always trash anybody who's been following this channel for a while. I always trash the people who look at video footage of a husband of a missing person, or something to that effect, and behaving a certain way, and then people all of a sudden everybody's a body language expert, right? All of a sudden everybody knows everything, and I got to get rid of this banner. Jeez, hold on 1 second. Sorry about that, y'all. But everybody's a body language expert. Everybody is a speech expert. So everybody's a lie detector. But the thing is, here is, that made me think. It made me wonder, like, why am I so quick to dismiss footage of a husband or a boyfriend in a situation like that and say it doesn't prove anything? But I'm putting so much into what Sophie's footage says. Why would I do that? Are they not the same thing? Well, I'm gonna go ahead and say I don't think they are, um, because the difference is motive. What what does a child have to gain from this? She's not trying to hide anything. She's merely trying to capitalize on her own safety. She's not even trying to capitalize on it. She's trying to capitalize by gaining safety. Just simple safety. That's what she wants, is to be safe, and she wants to be happy. And she doesn't want to be fucked with. She doesn't want people putting their hands on her. We all have the right to not have people put their hands on us when we don't want them to. Plain and simple. There's no two ways about that. Every single person has every right to decide whether or not they want someone to put their hands on them. Child, animal, man, woman, anybody. That's not up for compromise. So when I hear a 9-year-old little girl with nothing to gain except what? Comfort? Happiness? Even still, I'm not even looking at her hardly. I'm looking at the people around her. Is she being coached? I didn't get any indication of that. Because here's the thing. The one thing that I didn't mention on my last live stream, at least I don't remember doing so, is how is it not a complete and total red flag when a child just simply seems iffy about going back with their mother after not having been with their mother for an extended period of time? Who's not going to miss their mom? Who's not going to miss their mom? See, not only was she more than a little bit iffy, she was adamant. She was not budging. She was not going to that home if she could help it. It took every bit of willpower she had to relay that message without being violent and without being hateful or without even being disrespectful to her mother or grandmother. At no point. See, these things to me are extremely telling. Now, I am not a child psychologist. I'm not a psychologist of any kind whatsoever. I'm not a mental health professional of any way, shape, or form. But I raised 2 kids. I happen to know what they look like when they miss their mom, when they're scared. I happen to know. It's what a parent does. It wasn't like, that's my point, is it wasn't like she was trying to go to they were trying to, a foster parent was trying to take her. It wasn't like she was going to a cousin's, that she felt weird about. It was her own mother's house. Who is that scared to go with their own mother at 9 years old? This is more than that, Renee, though. This is more than that. Some kids don't miss mom. Yeah, okay. But this is sorry, but this is a lot more than that. Now, we're all angry about Sophie. We're all angry about what we saw. I think we're all in agreement that right now, the best thing for her to do is to be out of that household. And until we know better, just like the judge, until we know better, the father's home is the place that is best for her, right? Because there's also a simple thing of how old is a kid before they can decide, where they want to be and who they want to live with. I misquoted. I said in one of my lives in the state of Georgia, it was 15. It's actually 14 in Georgia. It's actually 14. So, but the thing is, though, like this 9-year-old, even though she didn't have a 15-year-old's vocabulary, she had the self-respect that any young lady would. Some might say, oh, well, what was all the screaming and hollering about? Well, no. I mean, if you're a tiny young lady and very large people are trying to take you somewhere that you are terrified of going to, and you don't have the strength, the physical strength to fight them off, well, I bet you're going to scream. Right? So I want to be abundantly clear about something. We all want what's best for Sophia, or for Sophie. Sorry. We all want what's best for Sophie. And the idea of Sophie being in an abusive environment not only scares us all, but it angers us. And right now, there's north of 220,000 people in this Stand With Sophie group. And it's a lot to manage. A lot of people are complaining, oh, well, nobody's, it's not being administrated properly. It's not this, it's not that. Again, people, I don't see it as a discussion group. I see it as an awareness group. So here's an idea. Here's a novel idea. Those of you who have listened to me for a long time, here's a novel idea. We, in this channel, try to apply rationality. We try to apply logic to every situation that we can, right? So I'm thinking the logical, rational thing to do, if we truly all collectively care about Sophie's well-being and we believe that the best place for her is in the care of her father, well, you got to let the 6 lawyers that he has, I think it's 6, it's at least 6, it might be 7, but it's at least 6. The 6 lawyer team that he has do their jobs. Don't rock the boat too hard. I don't think that it can be at all helpful to say nasty, horrible things about Sophie's mom before we know all the facts. And the reason why I say that, I don't think it's helpful to say these things in a group and make it public, because this thing has become a social media circus. And that group, there's just not a whole lot of, or at least for the volume that it has right now, it doesn't seem to have it under complete control. So there are people that are behaving nasty. There are people that are saying nasty things. So my novel idea is, if we understand collectively that none of us are attorneys, most of us aren't attorneys. Most of us aren't. There might be, but most of us aren't attorneys or mental health professionals of any kind, or even experienced mental health professionals with kids, experience working with kids. Most of us, I don't think, have that kind of experience. Therefore, we don't have the expertise, and therefore we're unqualified to sit here and make these wild diagnoses of things before the right people get into these things. And what we have to understand, we have to try to be patient, guys. The thing about courts now, mind you, when you have the support right now that Sophie has and her father has and her brothers have, you think about the fact that there's the GoFundMe that I'm sharing in this chat. There's the GoFundMe that all these other YouTube creators are sharing. Everybody's pretty much on the same boat here. Everybody's pretty much in the same place of, we need to get Sophia into a safe environment. And right now we believe that safe environment is her father's, right? So the way to do that is to allow the lawyers to do their thing, right? Allow the lawyers to do their thing, respect their wishes. I could go over the Zoom call. I watched it, but the thing is I don't think it's necessary to go over it here. I think everybody who's following this situation has watched that Zoom call. I think everybody has. I know that my friend Annie from 10 to Life, she went over it. I believe it was Friday. Or whenever it aired. It was either Thursday or Friday, but we saw what we needed to see. And right now, for the weekend, Sophie and her brothers are with their father, Michael, and they're having a nice weekend. So I would implore everyone that's in this group right now to try to just, if you want to help, and if you want to help Michael's case, I think it's most responsible to simply just try to admin yourself. Each individual person just ask themselves if they could just admin themselves and just watch the slanderous remarks. Try not to spread any false rumors. Make sure that if you know something, know the difference between a fact and a rumor. And before you repeat something, ask yourself, is this just hearsay or is it a fact? Something that you haven't confirmed. Try to refrain from spreading it. What we want to do is we want to help Michael's case. We don't want to hinder it. And it's going to be a hard thing to control with 200,000 plus people. But I think the only way to do that is if each one of us tries to really police ourselves, start asking ourselves some common sense questions before we start doing anything that might hinder a case, Michael's case in particular. Hell, anyone's case. Because if we're on Sophie's side, then we're on Sophie's side, right? What we need is for the truth to come out. What we need is for whatever resolution to come out of this to where Sophie ends up in a safe environment. So the purpose of the title of this live stream, I stand with Sophie, do you? That's what I mean by that. I'm on Sophie's side. And I want to make sure that I individually do my part to be a part of a rational and logical team here who wants a rational and logical solution to the situation. And whatever that is, it's got to end with Sophie being safe and her brothers being safe. Everyone being safe, especially the children. So it's very, very, very important, guys. Very, very important that we try to practice rationality before. Because it seems harmless, but understand, what we want, or we want people to know the facts. We want people to get on board. Someone went live earlier today who's an admin for the page. I'm not going to mention her name. But she went live on the page earlier, and she was saying, this has become a movement. And make no mistake, it absolutely has. But what kind of a movement that it becomes is entirely up to us. And if the intention is to keep Sophie and her brothers safe, then we have to make decisions personal decisions when dealing with this and dealing with that group, dealing with YouTube channels. We have to individually make personal decisions that we're going to try to think before we say something or think before we do something, and ask ourselves, is it helpful to Michael's case or is it hurtful? And I'm not trying to talk down to anybody. I'm really not trying to do that. I'm just trying to inspire a spark of thought. That's all I'm trying to do. Because I really feel bad that there's so many people with all of the same intention. Everyone has the same intention. Everybody is angered that Sophie is most likely being hurt in that environment. So if you stand with Sophie, that means you stand with Sophie. That means you ask yourself what you're doing, whether or not it is helpful to keeping her safe, or could it hinder it? And I mean, Michael went live, man, and he went live the other day, just a couple days ago. Said, dude, we've locked down 6 lawyers. Six lawyers. That's a team. That's a team. So you got to keep the faith, people. Because I'm seeing a lot of stuff. I'm seeing a lot of people go, oh my God, well, why don't they just pull the child out of that? That's the thing, is everybody's calling for a new judge. I mean, here's the thing. If his lawyers, if he has a 6-man team of lawyers, I know there's women in there too. I didn't mean that in an offensive way, but if he has a team of 6 attorneys, if there was a way to get Sophie out of that environment immediately, they would have that figured out. But I don't want everybody to freak out if he has to give Sophie and the boys back to Kelly tomorrow afternoon, like he's supposed to, right? I mean, he's just supposed to have them for the Labor Day weekend. And in the hearings, the hearing that played, there's going to be an evidentiary hearing. Now, the judge did say, leading up to the next hearing in November, that I believe she said the 5th, the 4th and the 5th, maybe. I'm not sure. I can't remember. But leading up to that, she said she's going to look over the video footage, because she gave the impression that she had not seen it yet. So hopefully, as we speak, she's looking over this footage and she's trying to find some way. But again, there was an order where she said, you can't stop a child you can't stop a parent, no matter which person's care they're in. You can't stop that parent from taking the child to the doctor. If there's something wrong with the child, the parent has a legal right to take him to the doctor, take him or her to the doctor, and figure out what's wrong with them. So the judge acknowledged that and said, okay, well, that's got to be the way that is. But any type of forensic interviewing taking place, she is making sure that it is somebody that works for the state or the county. A neutral party is going to conduct these forensic interviews with Sophie. But they still have to conduct these interviews. You can't just go and take a child out of the home based on that videotape. That's just not how it works, guys. And we want it to be, I see, I'm for changing a law where if a child, I say this in theory, but if a child pleads out that they're in danger in that environment, then you take the child out of that environment and then investigate the home, right? Everybody's, it's kind of like when somebody threatens suicide. Well, you lock them up and then you evaluate them, right? To save their life. This isn't the same thing, because if parents weren't such assholes on a regular basis towards each other when they get divorced, and if they didn't use their kids as weapons against each other during divorces and during custody battles, well, then we wouldn't have this problem. So you're sitting here talking about the system's terrible. The system's terrible. The system's not working for Sophie. No, you're right. The system's not working for Sophie, but the system is only a reaction to the millions of shithead parents out there that use their kids to hurt each other. Because you can't just assume that a parent, an immediate parent, especially a mother, is hurting their child. You can't just assume that and take the child out of there, whether we like it or not. We have to look into it. But separating the mother from the child is like the last thing that the court ever wants to do. And how many times does an abusive man come along trying to hurt their spouse or their ex and saying, well, the only thing that woman ever loved is those kids, and I'm going to make sure she never has nothing to do with those kids again because they got money, right? How many times does that happen? So the judge in a family court has to consider this. How many times does some abusive, narcissistic piece of shit asshole who's got more money than the mom say, oh, well, she hurts the children, and then bribes the kids to say it? How many times does that happen? That happens all the time. Now, do I think that that's the case here? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. There was no, dude, this child is, if that's the case, she is a Olivier and Brando and De Niro, just Hoffman protege. She surpasses all of them concurrently together. She surpasses them all. And I don't think that's the case. There's too many other variables. Just the fact that she's that scared of her own mother. Just the fact that she wasn't disrespectful when she was speaking to her. Kids are going to trip up, man. They're going to trip up. They're not going to put on an act that elaborate. Man, I was looking. I look at everything like I'm going to pick it apart. I was looking at that footage. I didn't see any of that. This girl didn't trip up at all. She was genuinely afraid. She was genuinely afraid of that situation, and she didn't want to go back to it. And you weren't going to make her go back to it. But you can't hate on the judge having not even had a chance to look at this evidence, having not even a chance to talk to have experts assigned by the court to interview her brothers, to interview the mom. I mean, there's a process, but you're not going to just take a child away from her mother like that without knowing all the facts, without being sure. That's just how the law works. Does that need to be changed? I don't know. But I know it wouldn't be a problem if there wasn't so many douchebags out there who use their kids as something to hurt their spouse. So again, it's not the court's fault that Sophie's in this situation right now. In a way, it's our fault. Because we out here don't know how to conduct ourselves. Because we don't know how to conduct ourselves, they make laws. And right now, those laws are possibly not protecting Sophie the way that they could be. In fact, they're possibly protecting the people responsible for hurting her. Because we can't behave out here. We don't know how to look out for our own kids. We don't know how to be rational and just simply look at what's best for our own kids and look at them as having their own minds and their own personalities and their own character, instead of trying to make them something that they're not. We fail to just try to feed what they are and just kind of pave a road for them. We fail to do that. So yeah, I'm thinking this group, man, and you should join the group because, you know, if there's updates, if there's updates, you're going to get all the updates that you need. Everybody's in that group. This is one of those things. There's nobody like, oh, I think this person's guilty. I think this person's innocent. Everybody wants what's best for Sophie. But we've got to start using our common sense and start realizing that when we talk to each other. Start looking at the other person that we're talking to and that we're engaging with in these groups with empathy. The empathy being the understanding that that person is in this group for the same reason that I'm in it. Right? And if somebody flies off on you, man, just fuck them. Go somewhere else. Go make another post, you know. And I love people that are trying to, you know, and I don't mean this sarcastically. I'm serious. Like, I love people that are that they're making their posts and they're like, guys, what are we doing here, man? What are we doing? How does this help Sophie? And yeah, there's fake GoFundMe's out there too, man. Those are nasty. Man, let me tell you something. You got to be a special piece of shit to start a GoFundMe on this behalf and collect off of it. Like, you got to be like, there is a special little corner in hell for people like that. I mean, it blows my mind, man. Blows my mind. But yeah, no, Lauren Elizabeth, yeah, you should definitely join the group. All I'm saying is right now there's such a high volume of new members that it's hard for the administrators to admin it and moderate it. It's not easy for them. So because there's such a high volume, because this movement has taken off and because everybody's made aware of it, we're, you know, it's hard for them to keep track of every little thing. So try to police yourselves, man. Try to behave civil. You know, I mean, I'm even watching, you know, I don't see any reason to get sarcastic with anybody in this thing. That's usually what happens. I go into groups and then I'm this sarcastic jerk and I'm condescending and I'm what they call snarky. But I'm not doing that here in this group, man. You know, I'm just trying to I'm trying to get information. I'm trying to get updates. I'm trying to understand how Texas law works. Um, you know, but at the same time, guys, take comfort in the fact that if you donated money to this GoFundMe, you know, it's going towards a very, very strong legal team that Michael has put together. If you have, here's the thing, you got to have faith, people. You got to have faith, right? If you think that Michael is the best person to be taking care of Sophie, if you believe that, well, then you got to believe that he's making decisions based on that, right? The person making those decisions is that guy that is doing whatever he has to do, that is instinctively and logically making decisions to keep his daughter safe and keep his sons safe. So you got to give the man a little credit, dude. Let the man do his thing. Let the man protect his family. He seems to be doing exactly what he's supposed to be doing. So before you all start bombarding the family and start, telling him what he needs to be doing, what he shouldn't be doing, the dude's got 6 lawyers telling him what he should be doing. Thanks to all of you. Thanks to all of you donating to the GoFundMe. But the dude has 6 lawyers telling him what he needs to do. So if you don't know what the hell you're talking about, don't talk about it. I don't mean to be, I don't mean that to be mean or rude at you. I know I'm capable of being that guy, but we're all on the same side. I'm saying it's not helpful to do so. What it is more clutter. I like to call that lettuce on my burger. I like my burger, man. I don't need the solidified water on it that grows out of the ground. That does me no good. There's no flavor to it, nothing. You're just taking up space, trying to make lame attempt to make my burger look bigger than it really is. And all you're doing is confusing the process of my taste buds. Get off my burger lettuce. And all you're doing is adding lettuce to the burger by throwing a bunch of nonsense in the group. So try to, let the people who know what they're talking about do their thing, man. See, pickles are different, Lufa. Pickles have flavor. So that's all I really wanted to go over tonight, guys. I just wanted to talk about, this is a lot going on. I don't think that they expected this to get the attention. I think that they were hoping for this attention, but I don't think that they actually expected it to happen. I mean, there's a lot of people following this situation, because I don't even want to say case. I mean, technically it is a case. But it's a family case. We don't even actually know if a crime has actually taken place yet. I suspect that there has. I believe that here's the thing. Doesn't matter what the crime is, right? Doesn't matter what the crime is. All I know is I am convinced, based on what I'm seeing in Sophie's behavior, I am convinced that there is something terribly wrong going on in that household. That's all I'm saying. There's something terribly, terribly wrong going on there, based on the behavior that I'm seeing coming out of this child. People are talking about she had 2 black eyes. I don't believe those to be physical black eyes, like somebody punched her in the eyes. No, I think she was saying that she hasn't been able to stop crying, and she was saying that she's got a headache, a horrible headache. And I've been that kid, man. Hell, I went through that when I was 10, 11. I was crying. I'm not going to get into the situation, but when you're crying like that, It's just a whirlwind of different negative emotions that cause you to cry. Just it's depression, it's sadness, it's anger, it's fear. When you're in a situation that I can't even imagine what her situation is like, but I remember being so just my head pounding, not sleeping simply because I couldn't stop crying. I couldn't get out of my own head. So I can imagine to a certain degree, and I want to be clear about that, a very small degree of what Sophie's going through right now. Now, right now, she's happy. Right now, she's with her dad. As far as we know, she's happy. She's got less than 24 hours there left, as far as we know. Maybe the lawyers will pull something out of their ass, you know. But rest assured that if there is something that they can do, they would do it. They would do it. So you got to let the lawyers do their thing, man. Well, BBT Boston, I don't know about all that. I mean, yeah, people need to behave accordingly, you know. And when you're dealing with kids, there's no excuse to be at war with the other. You know, I mean, there's just no excuse for that. Um, and you know, we're responsible for the situations that our children are in as parents. Um, but see, that's the thing is, I don't. You know, anybody you could be somebody who's sitting there saying, well, Michael was with that woman and had 3 kids with her. You know, where was his judgment? Why didn't he know better? Right? Well, I mean, first of all, you don't know. You don't know what somebody develops into later. The type of thing that people just decide to just do out of nowhere. Nobody's a killer until they're a killer. You know what I'm saying? So you can't necessarily you can't blame this dude for something somebody else decided to do. You can't you can't hold him responsible for having poor judgment, which probably wasn't even, for all we know, wasn't even poor at the time. So I'm not quick to throw stones at this dude at all. I think what he's doing is he sees that his children need him real bad right now, and he's doing everything in his power to come through. And that's the only thing that I think anybody should be focused on right now. It's definitely not the time for the blame game. It is time to make sure Sophie and her brothers are safe. Definitely not time for the blame game, people. Yeah. And don't freak out. Like I said, man, don't go freaking out if he's got to drop. I mean, that's what's planned. That's what the court decided, is that he's got to give them back tomorrow. I mean, that's just how it is. That's how these things go. Everybody's like, "Well, I don't understand why she's still why is she still in the mother's custody?" Well, you don't just take custody from somebody, man. It just doesn't work like that. You have to prove a case. You have to prove a case. And you're right. Nobody knows the whole story, Wendy Wren. Nobody knows the whole story. Two sides to every story, man. You know, I'm not sitting here one way or the other, sitting here being like, "Oh well, Michael's a great guy." I don't know that dude. I don't know that dude. I know what the hell he does behind closed doors. You know what I'm saying? But neither does the judge. Neither do you. But what I do know is that Sophie is happy when she's with him and clearly terrified of being with her mom. That's what I see. That's all I know. But don't be making up all these little weird fantasies about this dude being some saint when you don't know that he's a saint. And don't be making her out to be some crazy, saint either. If you don't believe Sophie, which I don't see why anybody would have any reason not to, but that's just me. But I mean, I'm not going to sit up here and make Kelly out to be some sort of villain because I don't know. All I know is what Sophie has shown us. That's all I know. I don't know anything other than what we see as far as that goes, and then what that hearing established, pretty much. And there's still an evidentiary hearing coming up that they haven't even set a date on yet, guys. There's another hearing coming up for whatever they were just doing here. I don't know if it's for the TRO or I don't know. I don't know what it's for. But it's not the evidentiary hearing yet. So there still has to be a date for that. But now I'm of the opinion is why wouldn't they expedite that? If there's evidence of abuse, why wouldn't they expedite that? The evidentiary hearing. That's just me personally. That's just me personally. What I want to do at some point is what I'd like to do. Uh, guys, email me if please, and please, please, please only email me if you are the following. I am hoping to have someone on here who is an experienced child psychologist who specializes in working with abused children, preferably, or who at least has experience working with abused children, but preferably someone who specializes in it. I would love to be able to discuss with them on this channel what they get out of all of the things that we see regarding Sophie. But yeah, I'm just I would love to have someone on here that I can actually ask questions with. Hopefully set some of you guys' minds at ease, hopefully set my mind at ease about certain things. But understand, folks, that we've got this is gonna take a while, people. This is gonna take a while. Unless somehow these attorneys can come up with some trick from up their sleeve to where they can legally keep Sophie and the boys under some sort of emergency, some sort of I don't know, some sort of loophole where it's where it's under emergency circumstances. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not an attorney. I'm just pulling stuff out of my butt here, and I'm not even, I have no idea what I'm talking about. All I know is that I want that little girl safe. I know what I saw in these videos. I know I saw a little girl signaling her father, and I heard a male talking in the background when there wasn't. Now, we don't know who that male is. We don't know who that male is. That male could be a relative, right? Because the judge said anybody who's not of relation, any males who are not of relation to Sophie. But we don't know, man. But I know everything that I'm seeing is very, very troubling. It's very troubling. It's not like I got to sit there and go, I don't know. That could mean this or it could mean that. Oh, man, I see a terrified kid. That's what we're all seeing. But what good are we to her? First of all, what good are we to her? Right? Well, there's an answer to that. We're people who are being supportive. And what we're doing is we're sharing information and we're sharing awareness. All right. I was going to call it, but give me 1 second here. All right. I'm going to drop you a link, BBT Boston. BBT Boston wants to come on here. So there's your link. All right. What's going on?
Hi, Glare.
Hi, BBT Boston.
I want to say I am thoroughly impressed with many things you said. I think you are absolutely dead on accurate. But I do
Thank
have
you.
somewhat of a different opinion on this, which is actually, driven by 20 years as a social worker in a school. I practiced in the school system, and then I went on to get my BCBA, which is behavior analyst. I do not have any expertise or even experience in abuse, but I see this as a lot of behavior. I do. First of all, it's hard because like you can't show the video, you know what I mean? So like in the beginning, right, you hear her. First of all, I think that this father made a pivotal error by putting this out there. This is his daughter. At the end of the day, she's going to have to deal with these repercussions of now this circus, just like you said, which that's the perfect word, of both of these assholes. I don't think either parent is better, and they're both going to end up losing custody, and she's going to go into foster care. That's what's going to happen. I mean, the courts are getting pissed about both of these.
Yeah, but that doesn't. You're talking based on whether or not the courts are going to like rule based on being annoyed. No, that's not how courts work.
Because they're pissed at the way these parents are making this into a frenzy.
Fair enough, but that is not what's happening. This becoming this movement right now is not sure. Does it reflect well on him? Does it make the judge's job easier? Absolutely not. But there's nothing about it that indicates that he is a danger to his daughter by doing this.
Hold on.
So a judge is not going to take away a child from its biological parent if the parent is fit to take care of that child.
But you're assuming that they are considering the father to be fit, which they did not determine him to be fit, or he would have custody.
No, I'm agreeing with you there. Right. What I'm saying is you can't make the assumption all of a sudden. The other side to that coin is that you can't assume that the the judge is going to take the kid away from both of them.
Well,
You don't know
it could
that.
happen. Absolutely.
It could.
You're saying the father is
But
fit. I disagree.
I'm not saying the father is fit. I'm saying I'm only talking based on the video footage that has been made available to me.
Okay, but
that's the only thing I've made an opinion.
All right, let me ask you a question then, because this is what I saw truly, and I appreciate where you said, and I respect your opinion and everyone else's, but my opinion should be respected as well. And I'm not saying that you're not, but so I saw this little girl. Did you hear when she opened the video that she started saying, "I can't go to mothers." Okay, she started to say, "I can't go to mothers." She's confused. She doesn't want to disappoint the father. She doesn't want to disappoint the mother. And if you listen to the child's words, right? She said, "I don't want to go to mothers." Okay. And he said, "I'm obligated, okay, to bring you, and so your mother can have visitation." Do you know what that message said? Like, think of what that implies. That
No, you're right. You're right.
In
that
other
could
words,
be.
I
That
don't
could
want
be.
to bring you, okay, in your mind, but your mother gets to visit you. She's a parent, like,
But the thing is he's talking to his daughter. He's not talking to a
Right, but
child
he's
in
not-
the system. He's
I
talking
agree.
to his own child.
He's
He
not.
has his own relationship
He's
with her.
talking to the video
So
camera. He's talking to us. He's talking to us in that footage. He really is. Well, if he was talking to his daughter, he'd say, "Honey, come on, let me hold your hand. We'll go out for ice cream. How about we, like he did none of that. Not once. Not once. Did you hear that phone call, that Zoom phone call? It was uncomfortable why didn't the father just say, "Hey, did you guys play? Did you guys like do anything fun?" By sitting there in that mother, and I know I'm kind of all over the place, I think that stepmother was horribly inappropriate. Her first words were, "Mr. Jake will not touch you." That's horrible. Like, she said those words, that will not touch you. You don't ever put that. You don't. She implied that. Sophie didn't say that. The stepmother did. Right? I mean, that's what she said. And did you notice that? Listen, hold on, and then I'll break. Did you notice that poor kid was sitting in that car and both of the parents were outside of the car? How's she getting the mothers? Drive the car. The poor kid's sitting in there waiting, right? And the father and the stepmother are outside going, "Are we ready?" Well, clearly you're not ready because you're not driving the poor kid. So then when she's saying, "I can't go," well, you're right, you can't go because no one's driving you. Like, she's 8 years old. She doesn't know. She even says in the back seat, "I want you guys to stop. I'm sick of this. The fighting." That's a quote. She said that, right?
Sure.
Sure. I'm not giving credit to either of these. I think they're both misguided. They're both caught in a focus of them each retaliating against each other, hurting each other, and they're missing an opportunity to take care of their kid by doing that. Did you notice every time the parents fought, that kid silenced?
But you're okay. But what you're not understanding is, I agree. I agree that the footage, the video footage that has been made available to us, the purpose of it even existing is to show her behavior.
But
hold on. But you also have to take into consideration how much time is spent off camera, what conversations are taking place.
Right.
You don't know what's being said.
Right.
So you don't know if he's taking her out for ice cream. You don't know if he took her to Six Flags. You don't know anything.
All I can do go by what I did not
fair
hear
enough.
once in that video was anything that promoted,
because but you said yourself the purpose of the video. He was talking to us, not her, right?
Right.
So the purpose of the video exists, sure, but I don't think I don't think that's the secret. That's not a secret. The judge knows that. Everyone knows that.
But
he's not trying to hide that.
But he should. We don't have the right to know this poor little girl's private struggles.
If something isn't being done, and you're desperate, and you're somehow, like I said, we don't know all of the details of the situation.
We don't.
But if this child is pleading and begging and behaving in the way that she did, you didn't see that child throwing a fit.
Right,
Whenever
but
the
did you
grandmother tried
notice what she said
to
though?
school her.
She said, and I agreed with the poor kid. She said, "You didn't let me get out of the damn car on my own. You were pulling me. You were right. Don't put your fucking hands on that kid. That was wrong, right?" But that was her argument. That was her frustration. If you let me get out of the damn car, then did you hear that grandmother say? Then did you hear her say, "I just don't want to sleep over." Okay. So then Sophie said, I want to go on a play date. And did you hear her respond when the grandmother said,
I
"That's what,"
not yeah.
and
I mean
you know,
I did an
I didn't
entire
know that.
like the last live that I did here. I went over all of that in detail.
So why didn't the father say, why did she not know that? Because she said, "I didn't know that." She calmed right down and was relieved. I'm not saying that I don't think the mother, if I was that mother, I would have
No,
walked away.
no. What I went over was she was saying that she wanted to have a play date. The grandmother told her, "Why didn't you want to have a play date with me?" And she's like, "What are you talking about? I said we could have a play date." And then she's saying, "No, I asked you this day, and then you said no." And then she said, "No, I didn't want to have a sleepover play date." She
Right.
was very specific.
And
She
then
was
the
like,
grandmother said,
she loves her grandmother. She's
right,
very respectful of her grandmother, and she was saying, "Yeah, I want to spend time with you." I
right.
her everything that she said in that video indicated to me that everything was cool. As she wanted to be with her mom, she wanted to spend time with her grandmother and her mother. She just did not want to be fucked with. She did not want to be touched. She did not want to be violated.
But
That was
the
that
court
there was
determined she wasn't. She saw doctors, she saw pediatricians, she saw social workers, she had DCF, and I think that,
the prior judge prior to this one. Yes,
right,
the judge prior to this one gave custody, overall custody with visitation to the mother, so that he had visitations with the father. But this is why the father felt desperate and decided to go public with this.
but
This
then,
is
but
not.
then,
This is not
Blair,
him trying to make his. This is not him trying to make his ex look bad. This is a guy who
oh, you
I'm
don't
getting.
think?
Do I think that? Possibly, but what I'm saying is I'm not. It's not the motive that I'm getting from that. The motive that I'm getting from him making this public is being desperate because a judge did something that he could not understand.
Okay,
His
then
judge
let me
made a
ask you this
decision
then.
that for some reason she made a decision for some reason to put this child in harm's way.
But they don't see harm's way. They didn't. First of all, okay, Blair, consider this, right?
Fair
So
enough.
then,
They don't see harm's way, but this is what I'm saying is the court determined that they didn't see harm's way, but
right,
this guy is taking it so far where he's like, all right, well, if the court, if the court of law won't defend my child, let's see if the court of public opinion will.
right.
And I do not blame him for doing that.
But the court, but see, I think that the court, first of all, the court of public opinion has no right to have any say in this matter because we don't have all the
I'm not
facts.
saying we do. I agree with you on that. But
Right.
what I'm saying is I'm defending Michael's decision in doing so because as well as it may have been of haste, I see it as being out of desperation. When the law failed him the way that it seems to be, I'm not sure if that's actually the case. Again, we don't know if there's actually any abuse going on in that home.
Right.
We don't know for sure yet. I'm acknowledging that. I'm saying that I do believe Sophie. I do believe her. But what I'm saying is you're right in the sense we don't have all the facts.
Right.
But what I'm saying is I'm seeing that as being evidence more towards this man being desperate. I don't see a man who's planting these ideas in his daughter's head. I don't see that happening here. I'm seeing a guy who sees what's going on, and then the court
But
of
he doesn't
law
see
for
what's
some
going
reason
on because he has no ability to see. But let me ask you this then. All right.
he knows
So
his daughter.
right.
You know what I'm
Okay. But
saying?
if he knows his daughter,
Like
then he shouldn't have to go for public the social media opinion. If he knows his daughter, then he shouldn't be posting her whole entire.
you're missing what I
All right,
said.
can I just ask one question? Listen, I know what you're saying. I really do. So so then let me ask you this then. If that father really firmly believes his daughter is in such significant harm's way, why then would he say, "I'm calling the police on your mother," and not calling the police on Mr. Jake or whoever these perpetrators are in that car? He said specifically, "I'm calling the police. Someone needs to witness what's happening." He should be calling the police concerned about his daughter, not concerned about the mother, right? You know what I'm saying? Like he's and as soon as he You know what I mean?
His mother is the one obstacle that's keeping him from keeping his daughter safe, though.
No,
That's
see,
the
but I
issue.
disagree
No,
because
no, no, you don't understand what you're not taking into consideration when you're throwing all this stuff out there. And I understand what you're doing. I understand your perspective, and I understand. You know me. You follow my channel. I'm all about. I need to have all the facts before I make a decision, right? But what I'm saying here is this 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 guy is the reason why he went and made it public. Now, I'm not saying it was the right thing to do.
I agree with you. I agree. I know what.
I'm saying that he did it out of pure desperation, and the
I hope he
reason
doesn't
why
regret it.
the reason why he is focused on the mother is because she's the one thing standing in his way of keeping his daughter safe.
The
If it was
court's
just
standing in his way.
hold on a second,
Mother's
hold on,
not.
no,
The court
no,
is
no.
standing in his way.
Can I get through this thought? So the reason why I say that is because she's the one fighting him in court. She is the one fighting him. She is the one keeping him from keeping his daughter safe. Otherwise, if it was just him, his daughter, some guy that's allegedly molesting her, well, then it would be no issue. But since this one person that's keeping him from being able to convince the court that his daughter is at risk,
you can't blame mother for keeping him. She feels just as strong as he does. I don't think either of these parents.
You don't know that.
And you don't either.
Okay, fair enough. You're not understanding what I'm saying. What I'm saying is what I'm saying is I'm talking about the point that you made. You said, well, why is his everything directed at the mother from him? Why not the boyfriend?
I didn't say that. I just don't.
You did?
I don't think she's standing in his way. I think
no. I'm talking about before that. That's the whole reason we're even talking about this, is because you were saying, why is he directing everything about the mom and not the boyfriend?
So I said no. His daughter. He should be directing it at his daughter. He should be focused on his daughter.
He is focused on his daughter. How is he not?
Because first of all, what I'm saying, because kids, even kids who are profoundly abused, and you know this, Claire, everybody knows it, okay? They still defend their abuser parent. They love their parents, right? I mean, that's a very, very, very like in-depth, like natural, she doesn't want to piss off either parent, and no question.
But she's terrified.
She's confused.
She is terrified of going back to her mother's house. She's terrified while she's on the phone. She's smiling at her dad, and every chance she gets, she signals him to shh.
Okay, but dad also is going.
There's nothing here. He asked her if she was safe.
That's totally inappropriate.
He asked her, how is that inappropriate?
That's implying, I know you're not safe. You think this kid doesn't know?
No, it's not. Not if your child came to you and said, Dad, I'm not safe at one point.
She didn't say that.
Of course she did. This whole thing is about her accusing her mom's boyfriend of molesting her, and while she watches. This is what this whole thing is about. What are you talking about?
And the court found absolutely no substantiated evidence that was happening. I can only.
That court did. Court did.
You can't just continue to go to court finding until you get
can absolutely do that if new evidence. It's
not working for the father. Then
how do you know that? Because they just had a hearing, and they have more hearings coming up. Right, and the reason why they're in court right now is because he's fighting that.
Right, I agree.
So how is that detrimental to the child?
Because
if the child is in danger, because I'm not saying that
there's no evidence that she is.
What do you mean there's no evidence that she is? The child's word doesn't mean anything?
I didn't say that.
Okay, but that's evidence. Is that not evidence?
To you, no, it's not, because
a straight accusation from a child. Why? Because she's 9 years old. It's not valid.
Investigated this. The professionals that investigated this, DCF, which are extremely flawed agencies, and I don't deny that. However, the end result was that they determined that there was no substantiated evidence. That's why she's seeing both of her parents. And then the court went as far as to put in a supervisor. That's what that grandmother's.
That's what that's called, right? In some states, it's called a guardian ad litem, which is exactly what needs to happen.
A guardian ad litem does an assessment. They do. I'm just trying to clarify. I'm not being condescending.
No. I'm saying that the child in situations like this, especially if there's accusations of abuse, they are usually assigned a guardian ad litem.
Right.
It might be called something else in different states, or maybe somebody who's considered this counselor.
Right. That's what it's called.
Right. Maybe this person who's assigned to her as a counselor, it does the same job as a guardian ad litem does. Just they call it something different in different states. That's all I'm saying. But she does have someone representing her. She does have someone looking out for her. She does have someone talking.
So listen to what you just said. Right. So they determined all these people that were looking out. I'm not saying it's an accurate assessment. I'm not saying that she's not being abused. I'm saying that they determined that she wasn't. I didn't say it was accurate or not.
No, they determined that they didn't find any evidence that she was.
Yeah,
there's a
you're
big
right.
difference. There's a huge difference.
Right.
Nobody determined that it wasn't happening. They determined, unfortunately, due to a lack of evidence, that she is. Right. Because again, you have to be able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt, and it's very easy to cover that up. Very easy to have a lawyer dispute certain charges. It doesn't mean it wasn't happening, or else. Right. If the fact of the matter is we wouldn't be where we're at right now if there wasn't reason to pursue it. This man may
say there's not reason to pursue, and we're not entertaining it.
But we're not there yet.
Right, exactly. I agree.
And we are, but the judge is entertaining it. The judge is saying, I'm going to look over everything. The judge is saying that there's going to be people that she assigns.
Right.
To evaluate the situation.
And in the meantime, you're going to go to both parents because we don't have reason to prevent that right now.
That's where we're at right now.
Right. But Dad,
what are we arguing about?
But Dad should lay low, in my opinion. Okay, think of what.
Too late for that.
Exactly, and I think that is a pivotal error on his.
Nobody's denying that. But here's the thing: is the judge seems absolutely and totally reasonable about it, because the judge said, well, we're here and this is where we're at. I wish we weren't, but try to keep the internet stuff to a minimum in the meantime, which he's doing. As far as I know, this man is merely enjoying his weekend, his Labor Day weekend, with his children.
I'd hope so.
That's all he's doing.
But look at what everybody else is doing. That's what's horrible. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I feel.
That's what this whole live is about. This whole live is this is where we're at. The whole thing is okay. There needs to be, if this child is in danger and she is stuck in a situation where she's being abused, and the law is defending it, and the law is not protecting her, but protecting the people responsible for her abuse, well, then changes need to be made.
Well, okay, then I agree with you, right? I do. Now consider this though. What if they deny this, like you said, and I agree with you. What if they deny this poor kid access in experiences with her mother, right? And they get it wrong on that end, and she wasn't being harmed.
Well, that's why she's not. That's why the judge was clear. The judge was abundantly clear when she said, this court is not about to deny any type of visitation from either parent. And it is not about to deny either parent any access to the children. That's not what we're doing here. Because until this is a family court, the purpose of a family court is to actually keep a family together.
Yes, you're right.
To any degree possible.
Right.
Even if the parents are split up, we've got to all find a way to coexist here.
I agree.
That's the objective of a family court.
Right. I agree.
So what this woman is doing, what this judge is doing right now is, I'm new to the case. I need to know everything that's happening, and it's going to take time. There's procedure that has to take place. One hearing has to be held, and then another hearing has to be held, and then there's continuances, and then it's this long chess game, and it's a pain in the ass.
In
the meantime, Sophia I can call her
suffer the consequences and the repercussions of both parents. I do.
I feel like, but this is not okay. But there's nothing that this man is doing right now that's damaging his child. He's fighting for her.
I just disagree. I can disagree with that. I do. I disagree.
I mean, it's already happened. We're out here talking about it. He's not talking about it, but we're out here talking about it. Now, is he responsible for bringing it public? Absolutely. He's absolutely responsible. But I can honestly sit here and tell you that as a father, I would have done exactly the same thing if I felt the law failed my child. I have no doubt in my mind. So you're saying it's over and done with, the court already decided and that's it.
No, I didn't say that. I don't think
you did say that. What do you mean you didn't say that?
No, I didn't say that. I said I'm reacting to what they did determine. I can't then go around and say like, oh, I think the father should do this because, you know, I believe that she's being abused. I'm saying I don't know, but the court said she's not. So father should not then run around and try to get more. You know, he's not going to change the judge's mind by having a media frenzy. I mean, look at what this has turned into.
I get what it's turned into. I understand.
Why didn't he get counsel behind the scenes? Why is he claiming he's making some strong allegations that she was raped, that she was groomed.
He's not making the allegations. Sophie's making the allegations.
His words. Those weren't her words.
That's because
rape.
That's because Sophie came to him. She doesn't know that word probably. That's for all you know.
That was his word.
What are you talking about? This little girl went to her father and said that she's being touched inappropriately. What do you expect this man to do? It's his child.
Okay.
What do you expect him to do? Of course he's going to say. Of course he's going to say. Of course he's going to say he's going to use the word rape because that's what it fucking is.
If it happened, how do you say that?
What do you mean? How do I say that? When you touch a child inappropriately, it's fucking rape.
Happened. If it happened.
Okay, if it happened, but the fact is this man is not going to call his daughter a liar because otherwise everybody would be sitting here crucifying this guy for not believing his daughter when he comes to her when she comes to him with a cry for help. What are you talking about? There's nothing that this guy's doing wrong other than trying to protect his daughter. I don't see anything wrong with being as desperate as it takes when a judge seems to have failed in protecting his own child when she came to him and said, Daddy,
the parents failed. The parents are failing. The judge isn't failing. The parents is failing. The parents, both of them are failing. All right. I'm sorry. The glare. Sorry, I don't agree with you. Bye.
All right. Yeah, there you have it, folks. Look, I'm not going to sit here and crucify a man for taking a desperate measure in trying to protect his child. And the fact is if you watched that hearing, that judge is not blaming him for doing it either. That judge understands exactly where they're supposed to be right now. And that's just the plain truth of it. But procedure has to take place. And I'm not about to call a 9-year-old girl that I saw completely and totally terrified. I'm not about to call her a liar. And I'm not about to accuse her of lying to her father. Because here's the thing. I don't have any frame of reference to compare this child to a liar. I'm not aware of any lies this child is told prior to this. So what's the decent thing to do is assume that she's telling the truth. The decent thing to do is assume the child is telling the truth. When you don't know her to be a liar, you assume she's telling the truth. She went to her father, the one person on this planet besides her mother that she's supposed to count on to protect her. Now, according to her, the mother is not only failing to protect her, but she is putting her directly in harm's way. And so the father is doing whatever he needs to do, no matter how desperate his actions seem, within the boundaries of the law, is trying to protect his child. Now, do I think, was it an act of haste? to blast this family's business out all over the internet? Yes, I think it was an act of haste. But we're here now. Here we are. And if the system failed this child one time around, then people have a right to know about it. And people have a right to demand a change in the system to protect our children. Not going to ostracize a 9-year-old girl for having the courage to speak up on something. The hell, man? Completely agree with you, Bellamia. I completely agree with you. All I saw was a terrified child. If she was playing a game or something, she would have got tired of her game. No child is that afraid of their own mother unless there was something terribly wrong. Sit here and blame people. This isn't time for the blame game. I said that in the first place. This isn't time for the blame game. Now is the time to start using your common sense. Don't start trashing one person. Don't start trashing the other. It's not helpful to Sophie's case. The objective here is to make sure that she is in a safe environment. Anyways, guys, I'm going to call it. I did not expect to get heated. I apologize to all of you for that. I don't know, man. Something about kids getting touched inappropriately kind of rubs me the wrong way, and hinting that it's somehow the dad's fault just as much as the person that's supposedly letting it happen, or flat out saying it. Well, to me, that's just as bad. I can't get on board with that. I see a guy trying to do the best thing that he can for his kid, for his kids. And no, I don't need to debate anybody on this. There is no debate here. I don't give a shit. Listen, I'm not getting on any fucking bandwagon of, well, it was this person or it was this person, that if this person hadn't have done this and this and this and this person would. No. The bottom line is, if that child is in an environment right now where she is being abused, she needs to be fucking removed from it. Period. That's it. Black and white. Plain and simple. If that child is in danger, she needs to be taken out of that dangerous situation. And the law, if anyone, needs to come through for her, no one else. Give a fuck about whose fault is what. I don't want to hear that shit. Whose fault is what? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, well, if the dad had done this and if the dad had done that, shut up. Seriously, like, I don't want to hear that. We're where we are because we're where we are. And that's it. Should this be everybody's business? Not necessarily, no. But don't you want it to be your business if the system is failing your children? Yeah, parents fail their kids all the time. Trust me, I know about that. I know. And it sucks and it's shitty. But when the parents fail their kids, which happens all the time, that's not the question here. The question here right now, where we're at right now, is whether or not the law is going to come through for these children. Are the current laws right now designed to actually protect our children? That is what this issue is about. That is what this movement is about. It's not about Michael. It's not about Kelly. It's about whether or not the system comes through for Sophie. Period. Guys, I'm going to call it. I love you guys, and we will do this again